MCQs you will solve. It's your understanding. Structure questions I will discuss with you. Potassium iodide is an ionic compound. Describe what happened in terms of electron loss and gain when the potassium atom react with iodine atom. So what happened when a potassium atom reacted with iodine atom? So potassium is a metal. And what is the tendency of the metal? Potassium is a metal which belongs to group 1, so it has one electron in the outermost shell, where iodine belongs to group 7, so it is having 7 electrons in the outermost shell. So you have to explain what happened in terms of electron transfer. So what happened? The potassium atom loses electron and iodine gain electron. So when the potassium lose electron, what will be the charge on potassium? It will be positively charged, and iodine become iodide, which gain electron. So as it gain electron, what will be the charge? The charge will be negative, and the attraction between the positive and negative charges, it will form an ionic bond. So explanation here: potassium is a metal which lose electron, and iodine is non-metal. It will gain electron, form a negative ion, and potassium will lose electron and it will form a positive ion. The electrostatic attraction between the ions is known as ionic bond. Or the unlike ions attract each other, and the electrostatic attraction between the two ions is known as the ionic bond. Is it clear? Describe the structure of potassium iodide. You may draw a diagram. So you have to describe the structure, like how the solid potassium iodide. So ionic compound, yesterday I told you, if you have an ionic compound, how ionic compound exists? Ionic compound exists as a lattice. So the term lattice means regular arrangement of the ions. So positive and negative ions are held together by a strong force. So we have to describe how in a solid potassium iodide, this is a diagram, and then describe the structure. So positive and negative ion held together by strong force and form a giant lattice. Giant lattice means when so many particles are there in the structure, we call that as a giant structure. So they have a giant structure. And what the term lattice means regular arrangement of the ions. When ions are arranged in a regular pattern, we call that as lattice. Is it clear? Any doubt in this? Next, explain why the potassium iodide has a high melting point. So what is the reason why it is having a high melting point? So the similar answer is there. When a substance is having a high melting point, what does it mean? It means strong force between the ions. Because it's an ionic compound, so it has a strong force between the particles. Which is difficult to break. That is why ionic compounds have high melting points. Or in this example, I wrote the journal answer, but here, according to this question, you have to use potassium iodide, a strong force between the ions, so it's difficult to break them or separate them. That's why it is having a high melting point. Magnesium react with sulfur to form an ionic compound, magnesium sulfide. The diagram shows the electronic structure of magnesium and sulfur. Complete the diagram. Here we have to show all the shells. You can see here they draw the magnesium full and they draw the sulfur. So magnesium is a metal, and I told you metal will lose all of its valence electrons. So how many electrons are there in the last shell? All the valence shell electron it will lose. So magnesium will lose 2 electrons. What about sulfur? When you check sulfur, sulfur belongs to group 6. So it is having 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 electron in the outermost shell. So sulfur will take, non-metal will gain electron to complete octet. So what happened when it loses electron? The 2 electrons lost by the magnesium are gained by sulfur. So first shell they already drew. So second shell was having 8. So you will draw the second shell as well because electron is lost from the last shell. So second shell, 8 electrons are there. The last shell, there is no electron. It's optional, you can draw, or if you don't draw, that's also okay because it does not have any electrons. So you can draw the last shell but without any electrons because it lost the electron from the last shell. And what will be the charge on magnesium? The magnesium will be plus 2. Why plus 2? Because the magnesium loses 2 electrons or lost 2 electrons. What about sulfur? Sulfur belongs, the first 2 shells they already drew. The third shell, 6 are there and 2 it took from magnesium. So you will draw 6 electron which already belongs to sulfur. So and use a different symbol for electron of sulfur and electron of magnesium because in the question, and 2 it took from magnesium. So when it take 2 from magnesium, this is 1 and this one is second. And what should be the charge? Because it took 2 electrons, so the charge will be minus 2 or negative 2. So metals tend to lose electron where non-metals tend to gain electron. Metal will lose all the valence shell electron, all the last shell electron. Non-metal will gain electrons to complete the octet. The term octet means 8 electron in the outermost shell. Is it clear, this example? In this example, you cannot draw the last shell, Ahmed. Sola. Reason for that, because they give you the whole structure. If they don't give you the whole structure, then you can only draw the last shell. Like example, if the question was draw the structure of, if I say there was a question, draw a structure of magnesium sulfide. This was a question, draw a structure of magnesium sulfide. So what you can do in this one, which you have to just draw. So you can draw the magnesium, the last shell only. So magnesium is having 2 electrons in the last shell. I'm drawing only the last shell in this example. Then for sulfur, belongs to group 6, so it will have 6 electrons. Magnesium lost, or magnesium will lose electron and sulfur will gain. So in this example, because I'm drawing the last shell, so it will be Mg with a charge of 2 plus or plus 2. And sulfur, it took 2 electrons, so charge will be minus 2. In this, we have to draw the structure, so we drew the last shell. That's correct. But in this example, the question, so in this example, actually, why I did not draw the last shell? Because this whole structure was given, so I have to draw the whole structure. Next question, ionic compounds such as magnesium sulfide do not conduct electricity when solid. Magnesium sulfide does not dissolve in water. So magnesium sulfide does not dissolve in water. Magnesium sulfide does not conduct electricity under certain condition. State the condition needed for magnesium sulfide to conduct electricity and explain why the magnesium sulfide conduct. So again, it's an ionic compound. For these ionic compounds, how they exist, like magnesium sulfide exists as a lattice. So there will be magnesium, and then sulfide, sulfur ion, then magnesium, sulfur, then magnesium, sulfur, and at the last, magnesium. So this is the lattice, the regular arrangement of the ions. The positive ions will be magnesium plus 2. I'm just writing a nature of the charge, which is positive, and sulfide is negatively charged. So in a solid state, it does not conduct electricity. Why it does not conduct electricity? Because ions are not free to move. How I can make it conduct electricity? So what I will do, I will supply a heat energy. When we supply the heat energy, what will happen? The solid will start to melt. When the solid will melt, the ions are free to move, so it can conduct electricity. So what conditions? We will supply heat energy. So it will melt and ions will be free to move. So when ions are free to move, the substance can conduct electricity. If ions are not free to move, the substance cannot conduct electricity. So when we supply heat energy, these ions will be free. So as the ions will be free, it can conduct electricity. Another example, aluminum oxide. Here again, you have to draw the full structure because it's given a full structure. So aluminum is an ionic compound which has high melting. Complete the dot and cross diagram to show the electron arrangement in one of oxide ion present in aluminum oxide. Include the charge. So basically, because in aluminum oxide, the formula aluminum belongs to group 3, so its charge is +3. Oxygen belongs to group 6, so its charge is -2. So they, when we cross multiply this, the formula for aluminum oxide, it will be Al2O3. So this compound will contain 2 aluminum and 3 oxygen. But you don't have to draw all aluminum and oxygen here. You just have to complete the structure for one of the oxygen. So what happened? Oxygen, when you draw the full structure of, because here you have to draw the full structure. So when you want to draw the full structure, if I say this is oxygen, nucleus of an oxygen, oxygen atomic number is 8. So it has 8 electrons. The first shell, it will have 2, and the second shell, it will have 6. So first shell 2 electrons, the second shell it will have 6 electrons. What will happen when the reaction occur? Aluminum should gain 2 electrons. Each oxygen should gain 2 electrons. So when the 2 electrons will enter this oxygen, the charge on oxygen will be -2. So here in this figure, aluminum is already drawn. You have to just complete for oxygen. So 6 electrons belongs to oxygen in the last shell. 2 it took from aluminum. So when it will take 2 electron, the charge will be -2. Is it clear? Look, in aluminum oxide means the formula of aluminum oxide is Al2O3. So it contains 2 aluminum and it contains 3 oxygen. But you don't have to draw all aluminum and all oxygen. In the question, you just have to complete for one oxygen. So oxygen belongs to group 6. So as it belongs to group 6, atomic number of oxygen is 8. So first 8 electrons belongs to oxygen. 2 are there in the first shell, and then remaining 6 out of 8, 2 are in the first shell, remaining 6 electron in the next shell. Now what happened? This aluminum will take how many electron it need to complete 8? It need 2 electrons to complete 8 in the outermost shell. So it will take 2 electrons from aluminum. When it will take 2 electrons from aluminum, what will be the charge? The charge will be -2 or 2 minus. Then explain again why aluminum oxide having a high melting point. Same reason, strong attraction between the oppositely charged ions, difficult to separate them. That's why it has high melting point. Complete the table to show the electronic structure of the atoms and ions. For this, you have to use a periodic table. First one, fluorine is done for you. Fluorine is 9 and 19. So atomic number is 9, so it will have 9 electrons, so it will be 2. How we identify it will have 9 electrons? Because when you check A is equals to 19 and Z is equals to 9. If you find number of neutron, 19 minus 9, which is equals to 10. If you find number of proton, that is also equal to Z, which is equals to 9. And if you find number of electron is Z minus the charge, but there is no charge. So 9 minus 0, so it is 9. So it has 9 electrons, so you arrange 9 electrons, 2 and 7. Next is silicon. Silicon is 28 and 14. So what is A here? A is equals to 28. Z is equals to 14. The number of the proton, which is equals to Z, equals to 14. Number of neutron we don't have to find here because we are writing an electronic structure, means we need electron number. So to get the electron, it's Z minus the charge. There is no charge on this, so Z is 14 minus the charge is 0, so it will be 14. How we arrange 14 electrons? So first shell we will have 2 electron, second shell it will have 8 electron, and third shell it will have 4 electrons. Is it clear? This is how the electronic structure or arrangement of electron in an atom occurs.
Again, Mr. Can you explain it again?
Silicon atomic number is 14, atomic mass is 28, A is equals to 28, Z is equals to 14. If you need number of proton is equals to Z. If you need number of electron, it's Z minus the charge. Z is 14 and there is no charge in this example, there is no charge on silicon. So charge is 0, 14 minus 0, it is 14. So we have to arrange 14 electrons in an atom. So how we arrange 14 electrons? The first shell, maximum it can adjust 2 electrons. The second shell, maximum it can adjust 8 electrons. And the third shell, maximum it can adjust 8, but you are not left with 8 because you have to arrange 14. So 2 plus 8 is 10, so you are left with only 4 electrons. So in the last shell it will have 4 electrons. So electronic structure will be 2 first shell, comma 8 in the second shell, comma 4 in the last shell. Is it clear?
Yes.
Same way, if you need for calcium and you want to draw the structure for calcium, so calcium atomic mass is 40, atomic number is 20, and the charge in the question is given 2 plus. So we need only electrons, so I'm not finding all neutron, proton, I will directly find electron. So what is A here? A is equals to 40. And what is Z here? Z is equals to 20. If I need number of protons, number of electrons, directly I'm finding electron. So the formula is Z minus the charge. So Z is equals to 20 minus the charge. What is the charge? 2 plus. So 20 minus 2, it will be 18. So we have to arrange 18 electrons. How we'll arrange 18 electrons? The first shell maximum can adjust 2. The second shell maximum can adjust 8. And the last shell maximum can adjust 8 as well, and we are left with 8 only. So 2, 8 and 8. So 2, 8, 8. Is it clear? This is how the electrons are arranged in calcium. Remaining you will solve because I will share this as a weekly homework. Predict the formula of a compound between calcium 2 and nitrite. So how you predict the formula of this compound? So calcium is group 2, so it's plus 2. Nitrogen is group 5, so it's minus 3. Whenever two valencies are, we simplify the valency and then we cross multiply. So it will be Ca3 and N2. That's the formula of calcium nitride. Then the last part, I expect you to solve. So that was the first type of bonding, which was ionic bond. The next one is a covalent bond.